Hi, thanks for stopping by. Today is Saturday, August 22nd, 2026. I'm just going to review packaging around the Countervite server. The Countervite server itself ships in a CloudFormation template. The dotted lines here are the visualization of what's in this CloudFormation template. Essentially, when we look at it, it is a pipeline, and that pipeline is supported by numerous functions we've built in Python that sit in the background and manage the Counter-Invite server pipeline ingest from an external organizer client. Data comes in here, it hits the SES box, and then we hit a SNS SQS call. In the queue, we fire up a function knowing it's a new inbound from an organizer. We match the organizer UID and calendar client with the email address. We do a little bit of magic there, and we create a sticky session when we disassemble it and score it in DynamoDB. So if you think about a high-level design, this is a first-time net new organizer calendar client coming in. He or she could do it multiple times, and every time that particular event comes in, we know it's that event by the UID, the username, bound to DynamoDB, and we look it up and we know it's a update. So the update would be update +1. Anything that's done here in the calendar client as a CRUD reference, create, read, update, or delete. We are flowing through the pipeline and keeping a good analytics on what stage it's in. So somebody could come in and update the data in the disassembly database several times, and then we would still store it for reassembly. That allows the calendar client itself to be a CRUD engine, and it has superpowers downstream, because if you follow this downstream, what happens with our use cases is that we're embedding these calendar invites spawned by the organizer's calendar client stored downstream in our embedded solutions. So those embedded solutions are things like email marketing call to action buttons, i.e. MailChimp. These buttons are put into MailChimp. You click a button and a calendar invite goes out, and then we track the data. So down here, we're showing a deployed sporting schedule for the 2,500 MLB games. Essentially, data went in 2,500 times for the games. We disassemble it, we store it, and we visualize it using this schedule generator and decorator, and spawn a really cool MLB game for stress testing, MLB schedule. And somebody shares it downstream, the organizer does, of the calendar invite server service. And somebody like Mandy comes by, puts her email address in, clicks some buttons, and gets the calendar invites on the fly. You can see that she says yes or maybe. We actually gather the specific UIDs for this calendar invite downstream. That's reassembled and pushed through the API gateway and sent out via this call to action button that's in the schedule page. Essentially, it's a REST API for the calendar invite UID. The calendar invites go out, and the specific yes, no, or maybe now are tracked via the inbound API gateway here. So if you look at the API gateway out, that basically uses all this display data that's in the DynamoDB database itself. We have all these REST APIs up here visualizing our calendar invite console for the organizer and domain user. And the domain user in this use case, the organizer in this case, is walking through using it for the customer, and the customer gets their calendar invites, and the data itself goes back up into the API. So the API is a two-way gateway. It's pushing data out, and then it's using the REST API recall to reassemble and send out calendar invites that are in email marketing buttons, pages, billing systems, possibly direct mailing lists, and then agent operators. So that's a summary of the use case up here, how our workflow works, and then the full workflow of inbound and outbound API gateway. The point being is that the calendar invite server does all this stuff for you because it's a prepackaged solution in a CloudFormation template with our 9 APIs. our 30 functions, and you do get access to all this stuff in the goodie bag as a developer if you want to get in there and tweak stuff. The point is, this is a packaged solution ready to go. It can be installed in 15 minutes. We have a back end called the Calendar Invite Server on CloudFormation, and then we have a front end called the Calendar Invite Server console here on the left that visualizes all this data by pulling the data out of the API gateway and then requesting what data needs into the front end solution itself. And it generates these pages in this one primary use case I'm showing you all today, which is a MLB game. That game is 2,500 events that auto-generate into this from this decorator, and they're used downstream in a sporting use case like this one here as presented. And I'm done for today in talking about the Calendar Invite Server here on August 22nd, 2026.